What's up, guys? It is the Profit Report with AB and Steve. It's Thursday, September 4th, 2025. Thank you for being here. I'm sorry I'm a little late today. I see my brother Kia was there a moment ago, wondering, where you guys at? Had some technical difficulties I had to fix real quick, but appreciate you guys being here. This week, we're doing Guns Week, guys. Guns, weapons. And we're talking about small weapons. We're talking about big weapons. Today, we're starting off with something small, company that's well known in the gun industry, Smith & Wesson, big brand, one of the oldest gun companies, if not the oldest. And that's what we're going to cover today. It's publicly traded company, Smith & Wesson, guys. Let's see their website real quick. Smith & Wesson. Are you guys gun owners? Who are the gun lovers in here? That's what we're covering today. How you think gun manufacturers make money? How profitable are they? You know, America is a very gun-friendly country compared to other countries. And the company that we're covering is one of the oldest gun manufacturers in America. You know, if you look at guns, though, right, and we're looking at the website, you know, gun prices are not that expensive. If you're a gun enthusiast, you already know this, but if people that are not gun enthusiasts, if you look at the price of guns, it's cheaper than a laptop. You know, I mean, $499, $549. It's fairly affordable. These are for handguns. Let's see what else they have. So they sell handcuffs, restraints. They sell branded gear, apparel, parts and accessories. So they sell magazines. They sell slides and barrels, optics. Look at the firearms. So they got pistols, they got revolvers, long guns. Let's see, view all. They got the MNP series. Yeah, I mean, some of these rifles are expensive, but aside from that, you know, most of these are affordable. But you know, we're gonna get into, because when you look at this price point, right? Because they obviously are a business. They're selling it for a profit. If they're selling it for this much, you ask yourself, how much does it cost to make this rifle, and how much are they profiting from each of these weapon sales that they do, and which one is their most profitable segment? That's what we're gonna look at. I'm just browsing their website for a moment. Happy Thursday. All right, so before we look into the annual report, guys, let's look at some history. Smith & Wesson. It's a prominent American manufacturer of firearms, known for its extensive history for producing a wide range of handguns and rifles. The company is based in Maryville, Tennessee. It was originally started in Springfield, Mass. Now it's in Tennessee. Founded in 1852 by Horace Smith and Daniel B. Wesson in Norwich, Connecticut, and it gained popularity in American Civil War when soldiers made private purchase of its revolvers. In 1899, it introduced the .38 military and police revolver. 20th century, they introduced the .357 Magnum, the .44 Magnum. 21st century, they were acquired by Safety Hammer Corporation in 2001. Then they later refocused on firearms production and expanded into polymer framed pistols and AR platform rifles. And in 2020, the holding company, American Outdoor Brands Corporation, was spun off, with Smith & Wesson becoming a standalone publicly traded company. So they became two companies. In recent history, Smith & Wesson moved its corporate headquarters from Massachusetts to Tennessee, citing the state's support for Second Amendment rights. So notable products, they got the revolver, they got the semi-automatic pistol, and the rifles. As we've seen on the website, they do sell a whole bunch of weapons, from handguns to pistols. From handguns to rifles. So we're going to look at their annual statement. And if you are new to the channel, you could look up any publicly traded, meaning if their stock trades in the public market, and you could look up their annual report. It is free and available. And you could find it by looking for it, researching 10K. On Google, you could go to the SEC website and you could find it there, guys. All filings, we're going to filter for annual filings. We got the fun. Gotta have the fun. It took a few days off to recoup. We had like a while. We had gone 40 something days of live streaming every night. Took a few days off. Now we're back at it again. And it's Guns Week this week. And we diving in, baby. We are diving in. All right, Smith & Wesson. It is incorporated in Nevada. Nevada is another state similar to Delaware, with friendly policies for corporate entities. So that's why it is incorporated there. But their main headquarters is in Maryville, Tennessee. They moved from Springfield, Mass. They trade in the NASDAQ, and the trading symbol is SWBI. Smith & Wesson, guys, if you're just joining, we're covering Smith & Wesson, a gun manufacturer, one of the oldest gun manufacturers in America. An annual report. All right, let's see. So these are all the products that they currently have. Smith & Wesson, all the trademarks that they currently have: MNP Shield, Performance Center. They have a lot of trademarks. It's listed all over here. We don't need to read that. Okay. Let's look. Risk factor summary. So almost all annual statements, they kind of have similar things. They have risk factors. That's related to their business. They usually do a general introduction at the beginning, and that's what we're going to read at as well, to get a better idea what their business is and what they do. So we are one of the world's leading manufacturers and designers of firearms. We manufacture a wide array of handguns, including revolvers and pistols, long guns, including modern sporting rifles, pistol caliber carbines, and lever action rifles, handcuffs, firearm suppressors, and other firearm related products for sale. We sell our products under the Smith & Wesson and Gemtech brands. So they also have Gemtech. Let's do Gemtech. Let's just look. Gemtech. So this is the other brand they sell their products under. So they sell suppressors. They sell guns in here too. So they sell suppressors and stuff for rifles through this other company that they have. It's called Gemtech. Okay. All right. So we are one of the largest manufacturers. Okay. Boo boo. Where was I at? All right. We manufacture our products at our facilities in Maryville, Tennessee, Springfield, Mass, and in Maine. We also sell our manufacturing services under our Smith & Wesson Precision Components brands to other businesses to attempt to level load our factories. In fiscal 2024, they began manufacturing and distribution activities from our Maryville facility. Looks like they discontinued operation in Connecticut. Okay. And they talk about the history that it was founded in 1852. In 2017, they changed the name of the company from Smith & Wesson Holding Corporation to American Outdoor Brands. In May 2020, in preparation for the spinoff, our outdoor products and accessory business, we changed our name to Smith & Wesson Brands on September 30, 2021. They announced their plan to move to Tennessee. So principal office is in Tennessee, as we stated before. Let's see, what other stuff? Our objective is to be the undisputed market leader in the firearm industry. Key elements of our strategy to achieve this objective and deliver long-term stockholder values are as follows. Drive organic growth by leveraging our brands and maintaining a robust product pipeline. Design, produce, and market high-quality, innovative firearms and related accessories. Create a leverageable infrastructure by streamlining and standardizing our business operation. Deploy our cash flow in such a manner so as to maximize return on invested capital. Okay, so these are some of the objectives that they have. All right, strategy. Drive organic growth by leveraging brands and designing innovative new products. So they're talking about capitalizing on the goodwill developed through our historic more than 170-year-old Smith & Wesson brand. So they're saying that you kind of using their name to, to innovate new products. Enhancing our relationship with distributors, key retailers. Okay. Introducing new products. All right, so they said they plan to introduce new products in fiscal 2026. They're not really being very detail-oriented. They're not saying a lot of details. They're saying a lot of, we plan to do this and this, but they're not being very specific. Hopefully they get more specific as we go further in the annual report. Design, produce, and market high-quality products that drive customer satisfaction and loyalty. Critical components of our ability. Yeah, there's a lot of jargon in here, but I don't see anything good. Okay. During fiscal 2025 and 2024, we generated a total of $99.5 million in cash from operations. During the same period, we invested $112 million in cash to acquire property, equipment, and patents. So they made some big capital investments, of which $84.3 million was to fund the relocation. So them moving from Springfield, Mass to Tennessee cost them a lot of money. They repurchased their own stock, $35.7 million of their stock, and then they distributed $45.1 million in dividends. And they borrowed $55 million from their revolving line of credit. And revolving line of credit is essentially like a credit, like a credit card, essentially. And let's see, production. Our products combine our legacy of more than 170 years of American manufacturing and engineering expertise with modern technological advances. Driven by the needs of the individual firearm owner, we continue to strive to improve the experience of buying, owning, and shooting a firearm. Okay. We have always been a leader in the revolver market. We have substantially enhanced the breadth and quality of our portfolio of products over the years. The introduction of our popular M&P pistols in 2005 resulted in us becoming one of the leaders in the polymer pistol market as well, serving both the consumer sporting goods market and law enforcement agencies. The launch of our M&P modern sport rifle in 2006 enabled us to capture what we estimate is the leading share of the modern sporting rifle market. And in 2023, they further expanded and strengthened our position in the broader long gun market with the introduction of new pistol caliber offerings, the M&P FPC response rifles. And then in 2024, they introduced their first ever lever action rifle, the Model 1854. And it looks like the addition of our Gemtech branded firearm suppressor products in 2017 expanded our firearm related product offerings. So it looks like this is a company that they acquired, Gemtech. Oh, San, what's happening? I'm doing well. How you doing? Doing gun week this week. I know I've been taking a few days off. Back at it again. You like guns, San? Covering companies that manufacture weapons, small time, big time. If you're from down south, most likely, you like guns. So we currently participate in 3 categories of the long gun market: semi-automatic rifles, lever action rifles, and shotguns. Okay. So in 2025, they introduced a number of new products, including the Bodyguard 2.0 micro handgun, concealed carry pistol. What does that look like? Bodyguard 2.0. So it looks like they also introduced a few other products: Model 1854, a 40 caliber M&P. Let's see what else. So they received several innovation awards in 2024 as well from Guns and Ammo magazine. Oh, Bree's in the house too. What's up, Bree? How you doing? We're doing Gun Week this week. We're covering Smith and Wesson. You guys like guns? Are you guys packing? You guys gun enthusiasts? So we're covering all of them. This is one of the oldest gun manufacturers in the United States, Smith and Wesson. We've seen how much money they make, what their strategy is. All right, so our customers continue to demand premium firearms that provide a competitive edge in sport shooting and hunting. Our performance center products are engineered and manufactured to meet this need, and they incorporate many custom features not found in our standard products, such as enhanced triggers for smoother trigger pull, ported barrels for better muzzle control, and specialty sights for quicker target acquisition. Oh, Bree says, I won one. Any suggestion? What do you want it for? You want it just for personal protection? If you want it, And we looked at some of these prices of handgun as well. They're fairly affordable. Oh, San says a Glock. You want a Glock? We also introduced several line of extension for our popular performance center MNP9 carry comp. Let's see. Let's look it up for you, Bree. What weapon does Smith and Wesson offer that I can use for personal I mean, you could always get the 38. My dad used to have a 38, but I'm not a fan of revolvers. I feel like 38 is a little heavy and it's not easy to use personally. I'll probably get like some type of pistol, M9 or something like that. But let's see what this. Okay, so they're saying a cost-effective and reliable option for home defense that comes with a 16-round magazine is in 9mm. So you could get this right here if you want. Bree. SD 2.0 series is very small. Price is pretty good too. You got the magazine, you got 16 rounds you could use. Polymer grip, stainless steel. How much does it weigh? Weight 22 ounce. Yeah, that's fairly light. And you could conceal this, if you're looking for a personal protection. This might be worth looking at. All right, back to the annual statement. Yeah, I'm not an expert in weapons. I have used weapons, I served some time in the military, but I know the weapons that I've used over there. Outside of the military, though, I had weapons myself, but I don't know enough to tell you, hey, this is the best, this is not the best. I only know what I've used. I'm more of a rifle guy. Handguns, we manufacture an extensive variety of handgun models. Oh, San says want that one. Hit a quitter. All right, so revolver. So they're talking about they make revolvers. They're explaining, a revolver is a handgun with. I mean, everybody knows what a revolver is. There are two general types of revolvers: single action and double action. To fire a single action revolver, the hammer is pulled back to cock the firearm and align the cylinder before the trigger is pulled. They explain what a pistol is. A pistol is a handgun which the ammunition chambers is an integral part of the barrel, which is fed ammunition from a magazine contained in the grip. All right, we don't need to know that. Oh, AB's in the house. What's up, dog? What's going on, man? It must be early. It's early in Ethiopia right now, man. But our boy AB's still in it. He's still coming out here to support, man. Let's see. In fiscal 2025, we expanded our line of revolvers that are designed to enhance the personal carry experience, continuing our innovative leadership in the category. These ultimate carry revolvers are chambered in 38 special 32 H&R Magnum featuring enhanced grips. Yeah, I know it's 5 a.m. in Ethiopia, man. It's super early. Yeah, we're doing Gun Week, man. Covering Smith and Wesson. What you know about Smith and Wesson? One of the oldest gun manufacturers in the United States. Okay. They're talking about all the stuff that they offer, which we looked at when we looked at the website. They have revolvers, they have handguns. I said in fiscal 2012, they entered the growing personal protection and concealed carry market with the launch of the M&P Shield pistol. So this might be something that you're interested in, Bree. I know you're talking about a weapon. The M&P Shield features a slim, concealable profile, 9mm, 380 auto, 40 SNW, and 45 auto calibers, and M&P ergonomics. Since the launch of the M&P Shield, we have introduced several additional models, including the Shield Plus with enhanced features, capacity, and most recently the award-winning Bodyguard 2.0. Oh, Bree, maybe this is what you need, Bodyguard 2.0. Award-winning. Damn. No thumb safety. Yeah, there's some nice grips on it too. And you have a magazine that holds 12 rounds. And they recently won an award for this weapon right here. Bodyguard 2.0. So let's see what else they make. Our Performance Center department has been providing specialized products and services for the most demanding shooting sport enthusiasts. So they also make weapons for sport enthusiasts. They make long guns. So we offer the M&P and Volunteer Series modern sporting rifles in 5 different calibers. They have 22 LR, 5.56, 308. These are all the calibers of the weapons that they make. We also offer upper assembly, so firearm owners can easily modify their modern sporting rifles to suit the needs and tasks of the various forms of sport, shooting, and hunting. I mean, that's pretty big. Like most gun owners like to customize their product, and they sell that stuff as well. And they have the other company is called what was it, Gemtech, where they sell suppressors and other customizable like products, but that's also owned by Smith and Wesson. In fiscal year 2025, they expanded into other calibers: 45 long Colt, 357 Magnum. Oh, they also make handcuffs. Okay. They're actually one of the largest manufacturers of handcuffs. So if you've ever been arrested, most likely you got some Smith & Wesson handcuffs on you. If you ever get arrested from now on, you could ask the police officer, like, yo, what kind of handcuffs are these? Are these Smith & Wesson? If you need small talk with the cops, oh, that'd be hilarious. AB says, I wonder if the tariff is affecting them for the raw materials. That's a good question, man, because these are supposed to be American companies, Smith and Wesson, all America, baby. We're gonna see if they actually outsource their work. That would be kind of funny. Oh, okay. Let's see. So they are the largest manufacturers of handcuffs and restraints in the United States. We fabricate these products from the highest grade carbon or stainless steel. Our patented lever lock cuffs offer a double locking system for added security and comfort without extra tools or keys. Internal locks help prevent tampering, and smooth ratchets allow for swift cuffing and an extra measure of safety. It says we have the ability to customize handcuffs to fit customer specification. And then they also sell firearm suppressor. We talked about that. We are one of the nation's oldest firearm suppressor manufacturers and an active participant in the firearm suppressor market around the world. And we believe our Gemtech branded firearm suppressor have been involved in setting standards used by the military in suppressor testing, implementation and testing. Let's see what else. Manufacturing services. We utilize our substantial manufacturing capabilities to provide services to third-party customers. Oh, so they make stuff for other people as well. Our manufacturing services include forging, heat treating, rapid prototyping, tooling, finishing, plating, and machining. They talk about how this helps them with their bottom line. They say we also believe that business-to-business sales provide a profitable revenue stream diversification, enable us to maximize capacity utilization. All right, so these sound like the main core segments then. They do weapons, which range from small handguns to long handguns, to long guns, to handcuffs, firearm suppressors, and then they also manufacture stuff for other people as well. Look at this. All right, so marketing, sales, and distribution. Yeah, I don't remember the last time I've seen a gun advertisement on TV. I don't even know if they're allowed to advertise on TV. That's something. Let me see. Hold up. Are they allowed? I don't recall ever seeing our gun allowed to advertise on TV. Oh, shoot. So you cannot advertise on mainstream TV. It says gun manufacturers are generally not allowed to advertise on mainstream TV due to bans implemented by most major media companies and platforms. Despite there being no federal law prohibiting firearm advertising itself, media companies voluntarily banned such ads over a decade ago. Starting in 2013, now only a very specialized channels like the Outdoor Channel might carry gun ads. Man, I have a feeling, especially with this current administration, this law is going to be challenged. I swear to you, I have a feeling, I have no indication, but this would be something I see being challenged coming down the line. I mean, what do you guys think? You guys think that gun companies should be able to advertise on TV? They currently have like a shadow ban where you can't advertise weapons on TV. I mean, how's that any different from, I don't know, people advertising all these drugs like, oh, take this medicine, take that medicine. I know it's completely different, but I'm just saying you can make a point about different things that are advertised. AB is saying, isn't that against the First Amendment, freedom of speech? Hey, listen, you got a point. I mean, you definitely got a point. I think they should be able to advertise. What's wrong with that? I think they should. Especially considering, like, if we look at how many people are gun owners in the United States, how many people in the United States are gun owners? Yeah, you can't. So there's no specific laws that says that you cannot advertise weapons on TV, but it looks like starting in 2013, all the media companies kind of gathered and said you cannot advertise. So it's like a shadow ban. So that's why, because you ever seen a gun on TV commercial? I haven't seen a gun on TV commercial outside of like the Outdoor Channel, like a regular TV. I've never seen that. So that's why when I looked it up, it looks like there's a shadow ban of that. So approximately 32% of American adults personally own a gun, while around 40% of households have at least one firearm. I mean, that's big. That's a pretty big population. I mean, so about 107 million people reportedly own a firearm. And think about that, right? That's just individuals we're talking about. Those individuals live in a house. So, in 4 out of 10 house, someone has a gun. And those numbers are probably bigger in down south. Yeah, so from an advertising perspective, so let's see what they do. So we go to market in a variety of ways, including two-step distribution, strategic retailers, and buying groups consisting of certain large regional retailers, utilizing direct sales employees to service these customers. We also sell firearms directly to law enforcement agencies and manufacturing services directly to our other businesses. They also sell internationally, which in turn sell to retail stores and government agencies. Our top 5 commercial distributors in the United States accounted for a total of 45%, 46%, and 44% of our net sales. So they sell a lot of stuff through distributors. And usually when you sell a lot through a distributor, you're not making as much money as you would with directly, because distributors would buy at a discount. We sell products worldwide. International sales accounted for approximately 5%. So they do sell internationally, but they're not making that much money from it. So marketing and advertising in 2025, they spent 15.2 million. I mean, considering they can't advertise on TV and they're limited on advertising, I wonder what they use to advertise. So they market their products using a multifaceted approach. We are prominently featured in vertical print media, including editorial coverage. So it looks like it's mostly on magazines, including Guns and Ammo, American Rifleman, Shooting Times, American Handgunner, Shooting Illustrated. So instead of Sports Illustrated, they have Shooting Illustrated. What does Shooting Illustrated look like? Shooting Illustrated. An official journal of the NRA. Oh, look at this. Roundup, firearm lubricants, and gun oils. So they advertise on platforms like this, on magazines like this. You guys subscribe to any of these magazines? We print various products catalogs that are distributed to our dealers and mailed directly on a limited basis to consumers. They also attend various trade shows and expositions, such as shooting, hunting, outdoor trade, or SHOT Show. So there's a whole bunch of like trade shows, police annual conferences, the Association of the United States Army. They also do digital marketing. We utilize our website to market our products and provide a wide range of information. Okay, let's see what else. Oh, in fiscal 2025, we introduced a direct-to-consumer e-commerce website to offer non-serialized parts, accessories, and branded goods. Oh, how is that even legal? Because one of the ways that you track a weapon is through the serial number. And this is actually becoming a big problem, where people are making like using 3D printers they're making weapons and they don't have serial numbers. So then, like, if someone committed a crime, you can't trace the gun. So I'm curious with this non-serialized parts that they're selling directly to consumers. Hold up. Products. Smith and Wesson. I'm just curious if some of these parts, if you could end up making a weapon with it, because that would be a problem. Or if these are just like parts that are in addition to the weapon. Yeah, this is a very murky area right now, because people could buy from some places with no serialized product. Yeah, every weapon has a serial number, and that's how you track it. So that's interesting that they're entering into this area. All right, service and support. They have a toll-free number. All right, whatever. All right, suppliers. We manufacture most of the components of our firearms, but purchase certain components and parts, including bolt carriers, rifle receivers, magazines, small parts. They're saying they have become less dependent on any particular supplier by strategically sourcing parts and raw materials from multiple suppliers based on quality, cost, and risk. Facilities, they have 4 manufacturing facilities, one in Tennessee, another one in Springfield, and 2 facilities in Maine. They do plastic injection molding, assembly, and distribution services from our Maryville facility. And so it looks like they do most of the manufacturing. Well, not even most. I mean, thus far, it's like they do all their manufacturing themselves. 5 to 8 hour shifts. Our Springfield operates primarily, and they talk about the different shifts that they have. Let's see. They're talking about the lease agreements for some of the manufacturing facilities that they have. Okay. Okay, so they use SAP system, AV. We were talking about this. It's funny. I've never seen any company thus far that we've reviewed talking about the enterprise system that they use, where they stated, I don't know why. I guess they're trying to say because they seek to minimize inventory costs through an integrated planning production system. All right, research and development. Let's see, in fiscal 2025, they spent 9.6 million on research and development. And as of April 30th, 2025, they had 45 employees at various facilities engaged in ongoing research and development activities. Patents, trademarks, and copyrights. They own numerous patents related to their products. They apply for patents whenever they develop innovative new products. And they talk about their trademark, but they don't specifically state what patents they currently have. Competition, they say we encounter rigorous competition in the firearm industry from both domestic and foreign manufacturers. Although some competitors manufacture as wide a variety of firearms as we do, most of our competitors manufacture only certain types of firearms. We are one of the largest manufacturers of handguns, modern sporting rifles, and handcuffs in the United States. We compete primarily based upon innovation, quality, reliability, durability, price, performance, consumer brand awareness, customer service and support. Our primary competitors are Colt, Ruger, Taurus in the revolver market, Glock, Ruger, 6 Hour, Springfield Armory, Taurus in the pistol market, Daniel Defense, Diamondback, Ruger 6 Hour, and Springfield Armory in the semi-automatic rifle market, and Ruger and Henry in the lever action rifle market. So they do have a lot of competition. Customers, we sell our products through a variety of federally licensed distribution channels. We also sell non-serialized parts. We talked about that. We grant payment terms to most commercial customers ranging from 20 to 60 days. However, in some instances, we provide longer payment terms. So we're talking about they sell to these people on credit, and then they typically have 20 to 60 days to pay them back. During fiscal 2025, sales into our professional channel accounted for approximately 9% of our net sales, which included state and local law enforcement agencies, the federal government, and international customers. Okay, so that's what they call professional channels, whether it's law enforcement, federal government, or international customers. The remaining 91% of their sales went to domestic consumers. So most of their consumers is not law enforcement agencies or things of that nature, it's just regular people like you and I. Seasonality, our business is seasonal, with sales generally peaking in our fourth fiscal quarter, which ends April 30th. As a result of most industry events and distributor shows normally scheduled during the early spring months. In addition, because of our operating schedule, which includes a summer and winter shutdown of our manufacturing facilities. Oh, I wonder why they do that. We have an increased number of operating days in our fourth fiscal quarter, which allows our shipping and production volumes to exceed other quarters. Seasonality, however, could be disrupted by external factors, such as results of federal, state, and local elections, and periodic social and political unrest, crime, and other factors. Governmental regulations of firearms. Okay. Our business is primarily regulated by the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, ATF, which licenses the manufacture, sale, and import of firearms and firearm suppressors. And the ATF conducts periodic audits. Ah, okay. Oh, damn. So there's also specific regulations by different states. It says, for example, in Massachusetts, for example, there are regulations related to the weight of the trigger, pull, barrel length, material strength, and independent testing of handguns. Oh, no wonder why they moved. Their headquarters used to be in Springfield, Massachusetts, and now they moved to Tennessee. It's because it was friendly laws. And right off the bat, looking at Massachusetts, what they require, I can see why they moved now. California, Connecticut, Maryland, New Jersey, New York, as well as other states have similar laws. Man. Generally, these laws require any new pistols to contain a micro-stamping mechanism, which must be able to etch or imprint an array of characters to identify the make, model, and serial number. Look, I mentioned that earlier. It is very important. That's how they identify who committed a crime, by tracing those serial numbers. And the serial number is usually tied to a person. When you buy a weapon, they write the serial number down, and then they associate you with that. No commercially produced firearm has utilized the micro-stamping process, which many consider to be infeasible, and we have no plans to utilize any micro-stamping feature in our firearms. Wow. So they're kind of resisting the regulation, huh? Let's see, environmental health and safety. They also have a lot of regulation about environmental health and safety. All right, let's see if we can find any other juicy stuff. Human capital, creating positive work environment, equal opportunity, and voluntary turnover. Let's see. They offer a lot of training for their workers. Total rewards, they got a 401k. Look at all the benefits. They even have a profit sharing plan in which employees can earn up to 15% of their eligible earnings based on company profits. How they even give you a license to carry subsidies and reimbursement for range membership fees. That's how the perks of working for a gun company. You could you could have your range membership fee paid for. All right, head count. They had 1,400 employees, including 11 part-time employees. None of their employees are represented by a union. Of our employees, 30% have 10 or more years service, and 3% have greater than 25 years of service. All right, CEOs, Mark P. Smith, 49 years old. Other execs, 54, 49, 65. Let's see, risk factors. Their performance is impacted by a variety of economic, political, social, regulatory, and inflationary factors, which is absolutely true. Let's see, how did COVID affect them? Oh, look what it says. For example, they say, we believe demand of our products was negatively impacted by unified Republican control of the executive and legislative branches of the federal government during the first 2 years of the first Trump administration. What? How? And may continue to be impacted by the unified Republican control of the executive and legislative branches of the federal government. In each case, as a result of the reduced risks of gun control legislation and regulation. In addition, speculation surrounding increased gun control at the federal, state, and local level and heightened fears of crime and terrorism can affect consumer demand for our products. These concerns often result in an increase in near-term consumer demand for our products and subsequent softening of demand when these concerns subside. For example, we experienced historic levels of demand for our products in parts of fiscal 2022 and 2021 as a result of the impact of COVID-19 and the social unrest experienced in the United States during the summer of 2020, with demand for our products subsequently returning to more normalized levels. So anytime there's a big tragedy, it looks like this company is benefiting from it because demand goes up. As a result of these significant fluctuations in demand, our operating results can vary. But why to the Republicans being in office affecting their demand? That's crazy. I thought that would be good for them. How? What? I gotta look this up more, man. I am not believing this. We believe the demand for our products. How? Why? These guys also reduced. I thought demand would go up because there's less regulation. Explain why Smith & Wesson has declining sales during Unified Republic. What? Look at this. Declining sales for gun manufacturers like Smith & Wesson during a unified Republican era are primarily driven by a predictable market reaction known as the Trump slump When gun-friendly Republican administrations come to power, the perceived threat of strict gun control measures, which typically drive surges in firearm sales, evaporated, leading to a significant drop in demand. What? Yo, who knew this could be something that's not helpful at all? Look at this. During the Obama administration and periods with Democratic control of government, speculation about new gun restrictions spurred many customers, especially existing gun owners, to stockpile firearms. Once Donald Trump, a strong supporter of gun rights, was elected in 2016 with a unified Republican Congress, this sense of urgency disappeared. Dang. Wow. It says, oh my God. In anticipation of continued high demand, gun manufacturers and retailers, including Smith and Wesson, had built up significant inventory prior to the 2016 election. When the expected sales boost did not materialize, the industry was left with a massive surplus, further depressing sales. Wow. Yo, isn't that crazy? I swear to you, if this was like a trivia question, this would trick a lot of people because you would think if there's a Trump administration, that gun sales would go up. But that's not the case. I don't know. I find that very interesting. That is crazy to me. Wow. All right. Let's see. Our business is subject to extensive regulation. A lot of regulation, corruption compliance. Okay. Privacy compliance. We are exposed to protectionist trade restrictions, including tariffs and potential trade laws. The federal government has at times put in place tariffs and other trade restrictions with respect to other countries, including limiting trade and imposing tariffs. For example, in April 2025, the United States announced the imposition of a worldwide reciprocal and other tariffs on its trading partners. And in response to the United States' action, many of the United States trading partners announced retaliatory tariffs. We're currently subject to tariffs on certain of our products, and other of our products could become subject to tariffs in the future. High level of inflation has adversely affected us, may continue to adversely affect us. So whenever there is a high inflation as well, it continues to depress consumer demand for their products, as certain firearm consumers have traded down to purchase lower priced firearms or delayed purchases due to cost concerns. For example, in response to inflationary pressures, we have experienced increase in the cost of certain of the components, parts, raw materials, and other supplies. So cost has gone up as a result of inflation, risks relating to manufacturing, their location, raw materials, and they must continually introduce new products that are successful in the marketplace. They're talking about the relocation. They moved from their headquarters in Springfield, Mass. to Tennessee. Let's see. They rely on their supply chain. And they talk about they may not be able to forecast demand for their products accurately. As you saw prior to 2016, they thought they're going to have a huge demand And apparently not. And they were sitting with a whole bunch of inventory. We may fail to align our capacity with demand for our products. Yep, we just mentioned that. All right, let's see what else. So their business is highly dependent on their brand recognition and reputation. They have intense competition. Okay, let's see what else. Subject to lawsuits. Let's see. It says, all right, let's see some examples. For example, the 2020, the Office of the Attorney General of New Jersey issued a subpoena requesting certain business records as part of an investigation into potential violation of the New Jersey Consumer Fraud Act. In 2022, certain gun control activists submitted a petition to the FTC suggesting that the FTC investigate and regulate our industry's alleged unfair and deceptive advertising. And in 2022, the U.S. House of Representatives Committee on Oversight and Reform issued a subpoena requesting certain business records as part of an investigation into certain firearm manufacturers, including us. Most recently in 2024, certain state attorneys general announced the formation of a multi-state coalition that purports to target the firearm industry. So they're talking about responding to these increase in investigation, including through litigation, is time-consuming and costly, and may disrupt our ongoing business and distract management from operating our business. I mean, that is true. They have a lot of risk regarding that. They also have risk about product recalls. Wow, so in 2020, they formed a wholly owned captive insurance company which provides product liability insurance to us and our subsidiaries. The product liability insurance that we carry in most cases subject to large self-insured retentions for which we are responsible. We not be able to maintain such insurance on acceptable terms. Further, product liability claims may exceed the amount of insurance coverage. But they have their own captive insurance company. We produce or sell or source and sell products that create exposure to potential product liability. All right, we don't need to look at that. Ooh, they may not be able to protect their IP. Okay. Let's see, what else? Smith and Wesson. When you got anything else that's juicy? Let's see. And they said the trading price of our common stock has fluctuated widely in the past and may fluctuate widely in the future. So we're going to look at their stock after this. And they're saying that their stock has been volatile. Corporate social responsibility. They also have a challenge in attracting talent and key personnel. Oh, they have identified a material weakness in their internal control over financial reporting that may, if not remediated, result in a material misstatement. What? I mean, this is a big thing. We are responsible for establishing and maintaining adequate internal control over financial reporting. We identified a material weakness in our internal control over financial reporting related to the accrual of certain legal expenses. A material weakness is defined as a deficiency or a combination of deficiency in internal control over financial reporting, such that there is a reasonable possibility that a material statement of our annual or interim financial statements will not be prevented or detected on a timely basis. As a result of a material weakness, we concluded that our internal control over financial reporting were not effective as of April 30th, 2025. Wow. We valued the errors resulting from material weakness and determined that the related impact was non-material to the result of operation, financial position, or cash flows for any historical annual or interim period. We are actively engaged implementing a remediation plan designed to address the material weakness. However, we cannot guarantee that these steps have been sufficient or that we will not have a material weakness in the future. Man, so what they're essentially saying is because of, all the legal challenges that they're facing, whenever you have like a possible legal like situation happen and you might suffer financial loss, you're supposed to quantify that and report it. And what the auditors are saying and what these people are saying is they haven't been able to do a good job in doing that. And that's a big problem because then when I'm looking at it as an investor and they're not stating those numbers correctly, I might be looking at the company differently, but in reality, they might have more liabilities than they're showing. So whenever you see this material weakness, that's a big red flag. Big red flag. Usually don't see that with publicly traded companies having a material weakness. All right, these are the places that they, in general, this is the places that they own. So they have in Maine, they own the spot. In Springfield, they own it. In Missouri, they lease it. And then in Tennessee, they own it. Oh, let's see. All right, the graph. If you invested your money in their company, how would it have been? All right, so their stock is shown. I mean, they don't do a good job of freaking, I swear to God, color coding. Listen, somebody could offer this as a business, color code these people's annual statement so that it could be shown better. Like, what in the world? Use some color in your annual statement. It's not going to kill you. All right. Because they use similar symbols. Anyways. All right. So if you invested $100 in 2020, in April 20, in Smith and Wesson, and then you compare that to other ETFs, Russell 2000, S&P 1500, your money. Oh, they don't have a table. So we just have to look at the graph. So your money would be worth, where's the diamond? It would be worth about $150 in 2025. So 50% return, as opposed to if you invested in Russell 2000 index, it's kind of almost the same. So if you invested and then it actually done better than its competitors, so their stock has done okay. I mean, within 5 years, if you got a 50% return, that's about 10% per year. So not bad. All right, net sales 474 million, represented a decrease of 61 million. Gross profit also decreased from the prior year, primarily as a result of lower sales volume and a shift in product mix. Their gross margin decreased 270 basis points. Whenever they say basis points, 100 basis points mean 1%. So 270 basis points mean 2.7%. So their gross margin decreased. So that means they probably had higher costs as well. In spite of a 3.2 million legal settlement recognized in the prior comparable period, excluding the impact of the prior legal settlement, gross margin was 330 basis points lower as a result of higher material costs, which makes sense. Net income was 13.4 million. Okay, 10%. It's not that high. So net sales was 474. Net income was 13.4. So the margins on this is not that high. And then they also paid 23 million in dividends. All right, let's see. We might as well look at their. Oh, let's see. Okay, sales. So handguns, they sold 331 million worth of handguns, long guns, which was a decrease from the previous year, and long guns 103 million. Other products and services 38 million. Total net sales 474 million. Cost of sales 347 million. You know, it's kind of crazy. This is why we read the annual statement, guys, because their sales has gone down from year to year. But what's the biggest change that happened between 2024 and 2025? Trump is in office. And based on what we just read, during Republican term in office, they actually experienced lower sales because Republicans are more gun friendly. And as a result of that, the people that want to buy guns suddenly are saying, okay, gun regulation, guns are not going to be taken away from us. So there's no demand, pent up demand for guns. And as a result, demand goes down. But in 2024, still, you know what I'm saying, Joe Biden and Democrats, that's why the sales were up. But this is why understanding what affects the market is very helpful, because I'm telling you, without reading this first, there is no chance I would have said, yo, during Republican times, during Republican controlled government, that sales of guns go down. That is so surprising to me. All right, total units shipped, let's see, in thousands. And yeah, and it's indicated by their numbers. Their numbers is down. I mean, even professional channels is down, which is like governments and police agencies. Even their sales is down. This is wild, man. See, this is why it's so, this is why I find it so exciting, guys, to cover this stuff. I know it might seem boring to some of you guys, but I really find it exciting because when you look at some of these connections and see like how it all works together, it is very exciting. I don't know. I'm kind of nerding out right now. Look at sales of our handguns decreased 50 million or 13.1%, primarily as a result of lower consumer demand. I mean, yeah, they're talking about all the sales that went down. All right, research and development, they spent 9.5 million. Selling and marketing went up as well. They spent more money but got less money. They spent more money on marketing but got less in sales. General and administrative, that went down a little bit. It was like they sold some units but they had a loss even on that. So from a business perspective right now, they have taken a hit in 2025. And their fiscal year is different. They already have reported 2025 numbers because their fiscal year ended in April of 2025. And again, fiscal year is any 12-month period, and some companies end up doing it from January to December. Some companies do it from March to March. This company does it from April to April. So their 2025 already has ended in April 30th of 2025. They're already in 2026 right now. Fiscal year 2026. So they have increased research and development, selling, marketing, distribution, increased 702. All right, operating income. All right, we need to just look at their income statement. Where are you? I need the income statements. Happy Thursday, guys, man. If you're here, shout out to you, man. Appreciate you being here. The goal of this channel is to help you and to educate you on companies that you're interested in. And sometimes, this education could also lead into financial gain, because if you find, after hearing this information, you find the company to be interesting enough for you to invest, you could make some money. And don't we all like to do that? So let's see, their auditor was KPMG. Company. Let's see, perform procedures. Was there been opinion? So, basis of our opinion. All right, let's go to their annual statement. Let's talk about the money. All right, so the balance sheet, cash, they got 25 million, lower than the previous year of 60 million. So it looks like they spent some of their cash. Inventory went down a little bit, they have 55. No, that's account receivable, went down a little bit, 55 million. Inventory went up 189 million. And that's not a good sign because, inventory management is huge. And if you have a lot of inventory and you're not able to sell it, that just becomes a cost and it's not beneficial. And the reason I'm mentioning that is, one of the ratios that you look at when you look at a company for liquidity to see if they have enough money to pay off their current expense is called current ratio, where you divide the total current assets by the total current liabilities. But there's this other ratio called quick ratio, where you take off inventory because you say, hold on, if they're not able to sell their inventory, but they still need to pay off their current liabilities, can they still do that? And with a company with a big inventory like this, especially in a business like the gun industry, where we've seen this in 2016, where they had a tremendous amount of inventory and they're not able to sell it. So you might not be able to take that in consideration. So total current assets was 277 million, a little bit less than the previous year. Property, plant, and equipment, they do have some land and buildings that they own in some of the manufacturing facilities. Oh, Sam says, so you have to pay even if you don't say anything. What do you mean by that, Sam? You have to pay even if you don't say anything. I don't know what you mean. All right, total assets, they have 559 million, less than last year. So it looks like in almost all areas, they're doing worse than the previous year. And now let's look at their liabilities. Actually, they don't have a lot of liabilities. That is good. Account payable was 26 million. Oh, they went down. Okay. So maybe they used their money to pay off some debt. We're going to find out. Secured profit sharing. 66 million in current liabilities. That's pretty good. Because total current assets is 277 million. Even if you just use cash and account receivable, you'd be able to pay off their current obligation. So that's pretty good. No, they don't have a lot of liability. That's very good. Let's see, do they have long term? Oh, wow. I'm very impressed. They don't have a lot of debt. Nice. Okay. Their debt did go up a little bit from the previous year. They had 39 million and sell anything. So you have to pay even if you don't sell anything. Oh yeah. You have to pay, yeah, because these anything that's listed in current liabilities is bills you got to pay with less than a year. So whether you able to sell the inventory or not, you still would have to pay it. They don't care what's going on with you. You have to pay. But that's why, inventory, it's like if you owned a restaurant, or maybe not a restaurant, but let's say you own like a bike company, right? But then you have like 1,000 bike to sell, but you haven't sold it yet. Technically, that could be considered inventory. But if you owe money to your creditors, to your bank, you still have to pay that monthly bill. They don't care if you have 1,000 bikes if you're not able to sell it. Like, it could be like, oh, okay, it's good that you have 1,000 bikes, but if you're not able to sell it and pay the monthly bill that you owe the banks and the other people that you owe, they still want their money. Whether that's because at the end of the day, yeah, well, damn, said Sam. Yeah, that's how it works. So when you look at a business, like, that's why inventory is a big problem with businesses, because if you make too much of it, it's not only can you have to reduce your costs and stuff, but also storing inventory. Because I used to do inventory audits. I did it for years, and it costs a lot to store inventory, and then you end up having people steal stuff from you. Things get damaged, and then even tracking inventory. I mean, think about how much quantity. The quantity, just this gun company, $189 million in inventory. We're talking at cost. The actual selling price of these probably comes out to like maybe $300 to $400 million of products. Imagine tracking that amount of products. That's a lot of work. It's not easy. Inventory management is super hard. So it just adds other costs to you as well. So that's something also you look at a company, how they're doing with their inventory management. If they don't, that's just wasted money. All right, so we're looking at their income statement. So balance sheet looks good. They don't have a lot of debt. They have a decent amount of cash. They did pay off some debt from the previous year as well. But yeah, the balance sheet looks good. Income statement thus far, they have lost some value from the previous year, 2024. But if you compare it to 2023, their numbers didn't go that down as much. Maybe 2024 is an exception. This that Biden era too, and there's people expecting maybe some laws are going to be changed, so demand was up for weapons. So operating income. Oh, but they had a higher operating income in 2023. So what was the problem this year? Selling, marketing. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, even their the other problem is too, inflation and stuff. Their cost to make the weapons also went up. So as a result, their gross profit was down. Income tax, they paid 5.8 mil. So net income, they made 13 mil. The previous year, they made 41 mil, 36 mil the previous year. It's not a highly profitable business. They're not even making 5%. They're making like 2%, like 3% of sales. So not a highly profitable business. Let's see. All right, the last thing we need to look at is their cash flow statement, because that shows us how much the money in cash did they actually get. What did they invest in? We looked at it a little bit earlier, but let me see if I could. Tell me I missed that. Yeah, guys, it's going to be gun week after this today. We're going to cover the big dogs. Tomorrow, the Raytheons. If you don't know about Raytheon, man, look it up. It's the biggest gun manufacturer. They provide weapons to the U.S. government. These fighter jets and all that. They make those. That's going to be one that we're going to cover. Man, where's the cash flow statement, Where is the cash flow? All right, let me go back to the first page so we get that. That's going to be the last thing we look at, and then we'll go to the stock. All right, financial statement. Where are you at? Index to financial statements. Cash flows. All right. Cash flow, let's see, by operating activities. So they lost $7 million this year from cash flow. Okay. By inventory, because they spent a lot more money on raw materials. So there's a little bit of mismanagement going on right here, or they estimated certain things and it didn't go out their way because they spent $29 million on buying raw materials for inventory. And they did pay off some debt, which is good. But yeah, that's one hiccup that I see. Let's see, they also spent $21 million in acquiring new property. Also, them moving from one state to another cost them a lot of money. It was like over $90 million moving from Springfield to Tennessee. So they're eating that cost as well. They also pay, so if you own the stock, you would get dividends as well. And for dividends, they paid $23 million. And they look like they've been paying dividends for the past 3 years. And at the end, they end up sitting with 25 mil. All right, let's go to their stock, guys. Let's see Smith & Wesson stock. You're going to be surprised with the stock price because you might want to get involved. Wesson stock. Let's look at the stock. I feel like more people would listen to me if I have a British accent. Let's look at the stock. No. We're going to review it. Chop, chop, Cheerios. All right, look at their stock, guys. $8.21. Listen, for $10, instead of spending it on something else, you could buy you a stock of Smith & Wesson, and you could be an owner, a part owner. PE ratio 26, trading at 26 times that it's earning. It's a little expensive, but not overly expensive. Earning per share is low, but a positive, still positive. They do offer dividend, and their dividend is actually pretty good, 6.48%. That is pretty good. That's a high dividend. And then the first year target estimate is $12. So if analyst estimates is right, 12 is trading right now at 860. So if it went up to 12, you would be pocketing what, about $4, almost $4, $3.40. But $3.40 might seem like it's not a lot of money to you, but that's a 40% gain. You know what I'm saying? So 40% gain. So if it's like, if you invested $1,000, that's $400 profit. You know, if you invested $10,000, that's a $4,000 profit. So that's pretty big. And if you invested $100,000, that's $40,000 profit, assuming the analyst estimates are right. But that's what they're estimating. But it has good dividend as well. So this would be one to even hold just for the dividend aspect, because getting 6.48% in dividend, that's pretty good. I mean, just for that, I would consider investing just for the dividend. And in case you don't know what dividend is, it's payment that's just given to you for holding the stock. And so that's pretty good. So you get paid 52 cents, per year for holding this $8.21 stock. I mean, that doesn't seem like a lot, right? But if you have, 1,000 shares, that number multiplies, right? So if you had 1,000 shares, that's $520. that you would get just from dividend. And then if the stock appreciates, that's another profit that you also could see. They did hit a slump this year, but one thing that they said, well, we got to take a lot of things in consideration. It is a Republican-led office right now, and they have said it themselves. During Republican-led office, they do experience lower sales. So that's a fact. But the other thing that they also mentioned is during the last quarter, which is from January to April of any year, that's when they experience the highest amount of sales, just because of how many days they're open their business, their manufacturing facility, their shipping facilities. So around that time, they experience higher sales, and that usually is associated with higher stock price. And we could kind of look at that with their past results as well. We could see if, hey, hold on, is there a correlation? So average consensus is $12. Analysts are recommending, two are recommending buy, one is saying hold. And then let's see if insiders as well, what they're saying. Holders. Let's see who holds these stocks. Who holds this stock? Vanguard's Fidelity, American Century. Let's see, insider transaction. I always like to look at this just to see what the insider sentiment is. You know, if you see a lot of people buying, oh, there's not even no data, really? An insider purchase? Sheesh. No, that's kind of whack. There's not a lot of people covering this company, which is weird. Okay. Summary. Let's go back to the stock again. I want to see if around that time, let me see. I wonder if we could do. Let me see. Can we? Let's do 1 year. Let's see. All right. Let's see if what they're saying is correct. So they said during the first quarter, during the last quarter, which their last quarter is between January to April, they experienced higher stock. So we got to take the 2024 equation out of there because there was a change in administration. So from a political standpoint, we got to take that out. But look, just to kind of give you, so January all the way up to April, their stock was good. And then it started going down. They did have a little surge in June, but then after that, it went down. So then now if we go back to 5 years, let's see if this trend is correct. Demando. So let's see. Five years. Come on. Why are you not showing me that chart? Ay. Smith and Wesson. All right, 5 years. Boom, boom, boom. Yo, what is up with this? Why are you not loading, bro? What in the nonsense? I'm trying to see if the number goes down. I need to download this graph, yo. Hold up. Let's see, where could I download it? Let me see, 5-year SWBI. You know what? We're gonna use AI. Why am I doing it myself? I'm gonna use AI. Look at stock over the last year. Do they experience higher stock price between January to April of any year? So let's see. Stock performance is heavily influenced by the broader. That's not what I'm asking you to do. No, go back. Let's see, go back. Go back up to 10 years if necessary and see if any particular months the stock experiences higher growth. I'm trying to determine because they mentioned during their fourth quarter that they get their biggest sales, and I'm wondering if that correlates with their stock price. All right, so over the past decade, did not consistently experience higher stock growth in specific months. There's no discernible pattern of higher stock growth consistently occurring in specific months across the decade. Factors like market trends. All right, so then that's why I double check this. You know, usually you would think higher sales in a specific quarter would correlate to a higher stock price, but it's saying, you know, according to the research that we're doing right now, there's no discernible pattern for higher stock growth. So I was hoping that they're stock by January because that's their fourth quarter, but then they would have to report the numbers after. But yeah, I don't even see it in the months following that. But let me see. Okay, another thing that we could also look at is how about how many people, what is the short interest? This is the people that are not optimistic about the stock. We could look to see how many people have shorted the stock. Short interest on SWBI currently, and has it gone down over the past few months, or has it gone up? And we got to use AI to help us do this analysis. Okay. So based on the latest available data, 9.1% of the float, so 9% of the company's publicly available shares have been sold short by investors betting on a price decrease. And it says short interest has recently decreased by 4.15 from the previous month. So the short interest ratio, also known as the days to cover ratio, is currently 4.5. This indicates that it would take 4.5 days of averaging trading volume to cover all existing short positions. How does this compare with other competitors? Vista Outdoor. Monthly change, short interest, 3.93 million. So it does have a higher short interest percentage compared to its competitors. So there are a good amount of people um, betting that the stock will go down, because that's another thing that we have to consider. As you know, most of these people that play shorts are sophisticated investors, but they don't necessarily mean that they're right. I mean, they are wrong a lot of times and they lose a lot of money, but it's also good to look at that as well. The key takeaways: SWBI currently faces higher bearish sentiment compared to its competitors based on its higher short interest percentage. Um, hmm. I mean, for me, guys, overall, the biggest thing that attracts me about this company is the dividend. And the other thing that does interest me as well is the price. The price is pretty cheap. As far as not cheap in the sense that the PE ratio, but cheap in the sense that you could buy one stock for $8.60 and you could be earning 56 cents on every stock that you own, 52 cents on every stock that you own. And if you multiply that by for not doing anything, and it might not seem a lot, but that's 6.48%. So that's a way better deal than if you put your money in the bank. You know what I'm saying? Like the dividend that you're getting is way above what you'd get, and if you put your money in the bank, and that's one of the reasons that I'm interested in this company and investing. The low stock price plus the dividend, and when I look at their financial statement as well, they don't have a lot of debt. They have a decent amount of cash. They do have a lot of competition, but their brand name is well known. Smith and Wesson is a very well known brand name in the gun industry, and they are still making innovation. And the current market just for gun manufacturers in general is tough, as we looked at it during a Republican-led office, because people are now fearing that guns are going to be taken away from them, that sales actually dip. So them taking a sales dip because of the current market climate is not just an indication of them per se, it's just an indication of the general market. They did have some costs with relocation, but now they have relocated once they get themselves established. They're in a friendlier state now with gun regulation. And then the current, administration might allow some flexibility with advertising and stuff that might be more favorable towards them. There's still conflicts left and right in the world. The threat of China and this rising power from the rising coalition between Russia and stuff could make people have more fear and want to buy more guns, because that's just how the world works. Whenever there is fear and violence, gun sales increase, and this might also benefit this company. So yeah, guys, I think this is one that I personally might invest in. Again, we don't make investment suggestions, but what we do is try to educate you and give you all the information that you need so you can make better decisions. And hopefully, we've done that. Before I close it out, guys, let me know if you have any questions, anything that you want me to clarify. Again, today we're covering Smith and Wesson, one of the oldest gun manufacturers in the United States. And it's a gun week this week, guys. So we're covering gun manufacturers. Tomorrow, I'm in between Raytheon or Lockheed. If you don't know those names, let me tell you this. Once I cover them, you will know who they are. They are big, big time weapon manufacturers, not your little handgun stuff. They make the big guns, big, big guns. The guns that bomb people out there. I'm not saying it like that's a good thing, but I'm just telling you that's the stuff that they make. And some of these airplanes and all that you see, these are big money makers, lucrative businesses. Gun week. So we're gonna dive into those bigger companies tomorrow. Most likely, Raytheon is the number one in market cap. Lockheed is also another big time player. So either of those two companies. If you have any other suggestions on a gun company that you want me to cover, let me know. But yeah, that is it for today. Appreciate you rocking with me on a Thursday night, September 4th. Gonna be back on tomorrow, same time, same venue. Hope you show up. If you're not a current subscriber, please consider subscribing, liking it, hitting that notification bell. We're trying to reach 500 subscribers. We are not even close to that, but hopefully we'll get there. We will get there. Yeah, man. And yeah, I hope to see you again tomorrow, man. This is the Profit Report with AB and Steve. Hope you guys have a good night. Peace.